So what up, YouTube? It's your boy GR8JSMO. And yeah, let's get into it. We're gonna go from bum to boss. And we're gonna talk about all the camera gear that I used when I first started out, and what I have now, and everything in between. First camera from bum to boss is gonna be the Canon T6. So I actually bought the Canon T6 secondhand at one of the flea markets around here. We actually call it the Berlin Mart, but I got it for 400 bucks. And it was, you know, it was already opened, it was already used. The guy who had it before me did like little product shots of the stuff that was in his store. But if you were to try to go find this on Amazon, it'd be around $500. This is an 18 megapixel APS-C CMOS crop sensor. It's also an EF lens mount. The biggest problem with this is that there is no dual pixel autofocus. Yes, if you hold down the shutter halfway, it will autofocus on whatever's in front of it. Not bad. But for vlogging and, you know, like being a self, you know, one-man band kind of thing, that ain't gonna happen. And the biggest reason is because it doesn't have a flip out screen and there is no microphone input. So your audio is gonna be coming directly from the camera. So it's good for pictures, but it's really not that good for video unless you're behind it, controlling it, and all you're doing is getting B-roll shots. The next thing is the camera bag. So I was actually using just this basic camera bag that I found on Amazon, and it was like 20 or 30 bucks, something like that. I can't even, you know, find it to really tell you how much it was, but it's 20 or 30 bucks. It's got, you know, the Velcro dividers, you know, for your camera, your lenses, and all your little things inside. It's got a little mesh pocket on the inside after you zip it open, and it has two pockets on the side. One of the other things that I wanted to make sure that I had was a handheld tabletop tripod. So this one's from Fugetek. It's a mini tripod, and it's about $15. You know, handheld. The biggest problem is that it's a limited range of motion. One side doesn't kind of go all the way. It only bends one way. So once you screw it in, it doesn't really, you know, move around like, you know, a normal ball head would. The other big problem with that one is that the locking mechanism, it's a little finicky, so you got to kind of play around with it. And finally, on the bum section, the tripod. Now, it's not really a bum tripod. It's just, it's lightweight, it's cheap. It's about $25, $26 on Amazon. It's from a company called Ravelli. It goes up to 53 inches tall, but don't expect for it to be holding a full camera rig with a cage and all. It technically can, but it's weak. The chances of it tipping, yeah, this is still, you know, step one. You know, we're not all the way up to, you know, the boss section. Now, all that stuff in the bum section, you could probably get all of that stuff for right around 500 bucks for some pretty decent quality, a camera that you could, you know, grow into and have interchangeable lenses and zooms and all that other kind of stuff, because the Canon camera can use all the Canon EF and EFS glass. You could go out and get some L series glass and probably, you know, photograph a wedding, maybe do something cool with it, but all that for right around 500. Okay, you know, we getting started. You know, you obviously want to, you know, grow and get better things as time goes on, but as a start, it's not bad. So the next category right here in the middle, I'm just gonna call this the basic. Okay, we're not gonna call it bum. You know, I don't want to offend anyone who has this equipment. I really didn't want to offend anyone who had the last equipment, but listen, if you have that equipment, you already know. So for the camera, for the basic equipment, we're gonna go with the Canon SL3. All right, so the Canon SL3, you can probably find it for around $550, $600, you know, on Amazon. So it does have dual pixel autofocus, so the focus will follow you. It only has it in 1080. Okay, it technically can shoot 4K, but the 4K is cropped and it doesn't have the dual pixel autofocus. This is also an APS-C, you know, crop sensor. So if that means anything to you, you know, the 1.6 times crop, some people just don't care. You know, it is what it is. The good thing about this one, and the reason why I moved up to this one from the T6, was that it had the flip out screen, so I could actually see myself in the camera, and it also had a microphone jack input. So if I wanted to have, you know, better quality audio, or, you know, put a shotgun mic on top, you know, for vlogging, or attach it to a boom mic, I had that option. This camera actually winds up being a 24.1 megapixel. So you do get a little more megapixels, still the same, you know, CMOS APS-C crop sensor. Now for the bag, we have the CADeN camera bag, okay? This is a basic camera bag. So it actually has a drawer that slides out on the side, and it's got 3 different compartments. So you can put your camera, maybe 2 lenses, or maybe put some ND filters, or maybe you could put your camera, a drone, and 1 extra lens. You know, it's up to you. In the back, it fits a 14-inch laptop. There's also a small front pocket so you can store things. There's also the top area where you could just throw in like everything else. You could use this as a backpack because the insert does come out so that it goes all the way down. You can use it as a normal backpack, or you could use it as a camera bag, but it does have that drawer on the side in case you do want to use it for your camera gear. And supposedly it has like waterproof fabric. I haven't really tested it in the rain. I don't know, I don't just go throw my stuff out in the rain. The tripod. Even though I have this one in the basic section, this is my main tripod that I use, even at my boss level. So the tripod that I use is the Neewer fluid head tripod. Costs about 80 bucks on Amazon. Obviously, in the name, it says fluid head, so you know it's a fluid head tripod, which means that you can pan and tilt, you know, up and down, left and right, all that kind of good stuff, and it's nice and smooth. But you can lock things in place. You just got to make sure you turn the knobs the right way. It can go up to 71 inches tall, which is great for me because I'm about 6'3". So once the tripod is all extended and you know the fluid head is all the way up, get tall enough where I can look at it straight in the lens. I would say straight in the eye, but you know, straight in the lens. I could look you guys dead on. I don't have to get one of those like power stances and kind of like, you know, dip down a little bit so that I can look straight. Nah, I can stand straight up, look straight, everybody's happy. Now, as far as a handheld tripod, because remember last time we did the Fugetek, I actually went with the Manfrotto PIXI. Okay, so the Manfrotto PIXI, it's good. And the only negative that I have about it is that if your camera is heavy, the ball head isn't super strong, but it's still strong enough for a normal DSLR or mirrorless camera, or even a cell phone if you have the cell phone mount attachment. The Manfrotto PIXI is right around 20 bucks on Amazon, so you really can't go wrong. You're not. Some people may, you know, feel like they're wasting money by not getting, you know, the most high end, but it's 20 bucks. So if we look at all that stuff combined, we're looking at right around 700. Dollars, depending when you get things and you know, whatever kind of accessories or bundles you get, you might be able to find it cheaper, but right around 700 bucks. We're gonna talk about some boss status stuff. So first we're gonna start off with the Canon EOS R6 full frame mirrorless camera. So this one can do record in 4K, uncropped, C-Log, 10-bit, 422, all the stuff. This also has that dual pixel autofocus. It actually has eye autofocus, so holds onto your eye pretty good. You know, like, does it got me? Am I focused? Autofocus. This also has in-body image stabilization. So these R series cameras, the R5 and the R6, were Canon's first edition of in-body image stabilization on their mirrorless camera line. It also has an EVF. Now, the previous 2 cameras, they had the optical eyepiece. I don't know, what is that called? What is that called? I don't know. But they had the optical one. This one has the electronic one, right? So the difference is that the electronic one, if you make a change, let's say to the ISO or the exposure, or you have it in C-Log, or you know, you add a LUT to it, whatever you want to do to it, it'll show you a video screen of what it would look like. So once you take the picture, you actually know what it looks like when you're looking through the little eyepiece, as opposed to the other ones. Whatever you're seeing out in the real world is how it's going to look through the eyepiece. So you better take a picture and then you look at it like, I was underexposed. But if you have an EVF, you take the picture. Before you even take the picture, you can just look through the EVF and see if you're exposed or not. Now, this camera, depending on where you get it and where you get it from, it's around 24, but you know, you got to add in the kit lens. So you're looking at around $2,700, maybe even 28, depending. Might catch a sale. Now I'm actually going to borrow something from the last one, the basic setup. So the Manfrotto PIXI, you're doing full frame, it's not cropped, so you know, having that as like a vlog tripod or a tabletop tripod is great. Now as far as the bag is concerned, I went with the Peak Design Everyday Zip. It looks enough like a backpack where it's not, you know, drawing too much attention, but it still holds all my camera, holds my drone. It's got, you know, dual access from the sides. It's got the access from the top. It's got tons of place to store stuff. Peak Design. If you're looking to, you know, really get into, you know, the camera game, you're probably going to be looking at either Peak Design or what's the other one? The Peter McKinnon one, Nomadic, I think it's called. I don't know. I know Peter McKinnon has his own bag, but trust me, Peak Design, they make high quality stuff. The Peak Design bag can fit a 17-inch laptop, and it also has 2 different variants. I wound up getting the 20 liter. Maybe I have 20 liter of, you know, camera gear. So this bag wound up costing right around 200 bucks. 189 is what it says on the site, but then you got to add in tax and shipping and all that kind of good stuff. So right around 200 bucks for the tripod. Only because I put the Peak Design bag in the Boss section. I'm actually just going to put the Peak Design travel tripod in the Boss section as well, because it goes with it. There are even these straps on the Peak Design backpack that help hold the Peak Design tripod together because they're all made to go with each other. But I wound up getting the aluminum Peak Design tripod. It's cool because it can be low to the ground. It almost gets tabletop height, you know, if you know what you're doing. You could remove the center column and have kind of like a selfie stick or monopod, you know, style grip. But I wouldn't recommend it with this one. See, this one is the aluminum one, and the aluminum one is a lot heavier than the carbon fiber. However, the aluminum is almost half the price of the carbon fiber. The aluminum comes in at $350. Now, because it's made from aluminum, it's significantly heavier, which really isn't a problem because it makes it sturdy. It's not going to blow away in the wind. But there's so many other things that come along with it, like the cell phone clip that's in the center console, and it even comes with its own tool. So there's really no reason why you can't, you know, adjust the tightness of the legs and things like that. But if we look at everything that comes in this Boss section, it's going to be about 3,500 bucks. Some of these cameras I use, some my daughter uses, some my nephew uses. But my thing is that as you grow with your gear, you're gonna want to change some things. You're gonna want to get better gear. You're gonna want to upgrade your camera bag and your tripod and all these different things. Where I'm at now, I feel like it's Boss status. However, there is still the cinema line. There is still, you know, all these other cameras that are out there. The R5, that's Boss status. R5, you know, it's almost $4 grand. For these purposes, the R6 is pretty decent. Let me know what you guys think down below. What would you have put in your bum level? What would you put at your basic level? And what would you have put at your Boss level? With that being said, this is your boy GR8JSM. Oh, and I'm out.